We're going to start with the future of Cristiano Ronaldo. Reports today suggest that the 37-year-old has reiterated his desire to leave Old Trafford and is exploring the option of returning to Sporting Lisbon. For more on this, I'm delighted to say that Dharmesh Sheth joins me now in the studio. Good afternoon, just to you, Dharmesh.
Good afternoon.
That went well. Look, how do you assess this situation, or shall we call it a saga now?
It's fast developing into a saga, isn't it? If you go back to July the 2nd, it's nearly 4 weeks ago, that was when it emerged that Cristiano Ronaldo made it clear to Manchester United that he wanted to leave and he wanted to join a club in the Champions League. Now, at the time, there were many people who were thinking, right, Jorge Mendes has got an offer on the table, ready to go to Manchester United with. 27 days later, and the potential destinations for Cristiano Ronaldo are receding. So why did he make that announcement? Not announcement, but why did he make it clear that he wanted to leave then? Well, maybe now, when we look back, it's to drum up interest in Cristiano Ronaldo. It's amazing to think that he would need to drum up interest in a player like Cristiano Ronaldo. It's put Manchester United, obviously, in a very, very difficult situation because they've been planning for the next season with Cristiano Ronaldo in the team. But I mentioned those potential destinations. We heard reports emerging that Todd Boehly, the Chelsea owner, had met with Jorge Mendes, and was the topic of Cristiano Ronaldo broached among many of his other players that Mendes would have been involved with and he looks after. I mean, it would be surprising if Boehly didn't meet with someone like Jorge Mendes, if you think about it.
Yeah.
It's the owner of a new big football club. Why wouldn't you want to meet with one of the biggest agents in the world, let alone talk about Cristiano Ronaldo? But that doesn't seem to be an option, Chelsea. Atletico Madrid and Bayern Munich, they were looked at two possible destinations as well, but they both publicly come out and said, no, he's a great player, but not for us.
Yeah.
And if you even look at what happened at the Numancia Atletico Madrid game, the pre-season friendly the other night, there was a section of Atletico Madrid fans who had made a banner saying CR7 not welcome. I mean, there is a history, of course. He used to play for their big rivals, their big city rivals, Real Madrid, 9 unbelievable years for them. And now we've started to see reports emerging that Ronaldo and his representatives might be exploring the possibility of going back to where it all began for him and Sporting Lisbon.
How feasible is that, do you think?
I mean, Sporting Lisbon, you could make cases potentially for Bayern Munich and Atletico Madrid, given the finances that these clubs potentially could have. Sporting Lisbon don't have that kind of finance. It would be a very, very difficult deal to do. If you think about what Ronaldo is on at the moment, we're talking around £500,000 a week. So you're looking at £26 million a year for this player. So how easy would it be to be able to do a deal with Sporting Lisbon? There would have to be concessions, potentially from the Manchester United side, potentially from Cristiano Ronaldo's side as well. Would he be willing to take a pay cut to go to a club like this? Remember, these are only the reports that are emerging that they're exploring the possibility of doing that. But then if you look at it from Manchester United's side, they've made it clear that he is not for sale. So if the small chance they do agree to a deal, would Manchester United want to do a deal whereby Cristiano Ronaldo leaves the club when they've said he's not for sale and contribute to the wages of Cristiano Ronaldo while he's playing for another club? It would be a very, very difficult deal to do. I've just been speaking to somebody who's quite close to Sporting Lisbon, and he seems to say that it would be a very, very, very difficult deal to do. Not least the finances, but also the manager as well. His priority is to keep the players that they've got there at the moment, and maybe somebody like Cristiano Ronaldo coming into the squad might disrupt things with regard to what's happening with that squad, because he's trying to build something there. Ruben Amorim, his name is the Sporting Lisbon coach. So reports emerging that, look, they're trying to explore a possibility of a deal with Sporting Lisbon. In reality, it will be a very, very difficult one to do.
And it's no surprise that Manchester United are saying that he's not for sale, you'd guess. I mean, that makes good business sense, doesn't it? But how do you see this next month playing out? Because obviously they've got to the end of August. I mean,
impossible to predict. I mean, you can safely say that it is going to rumble on until maybe Ronaldo does a U-turn. Is he going to say, no, look, I am staying, I am happy at Manchester United, but as it stands, both sides are not budging. Manchester United have maintained since the news emerged that Ronaldo wanted to leave. that Ronaldo is not for sale. He's got 1 year left on his contract, and we've got an option for a further 12 months. Now, whenever Erik ten Hag has been asked the question, Erik ten Hag has said, look, I've not spoken to him since this news has emerged, but when I have spoken to him before, he was happy, and I'm planning for Cristiano Ronaldo to be at the club next season. But then he had these family issues, and United accepted that explanation why he didn't go on the tour to Thailand and Australia. He's now back at Carrington. There were those talks yesterday, and all sorts of rumours were flying around with regard to who was involved in these talks. Erik ten Hag, there was even talk of Sir Alex Ferguson. Yeah. Now, Ronaldo has kept his silence throughout, but he's starting to reply to people on Instagram. There was a message on Instagram that said this: Jorge Mendes told Manchester United that Cristiano Ronaldo is adamant about leaving, but Mendes left negotiations less tentative that Ronaldo get his move. Sir Alex Ferguson has intervened. United insists Ronaldo is not for sale. Now, Ronaldo, as you can see on your screen now, has responded on Instagram by saying this: impossible not to talk about me one day. Otherwise, the press makes no money. You know that if you don't lie, you can't get people's attention. Keep going, that one day you get some news right. Now, it's interesting to see what he's actually responding to there, because what is he implying is the lie there? Is it that he doesn't want to leave, or is it perhaps more significantly that Sir Alex Ferguson has intervened? So not saying that the whole thing is a lie, he's just saying what has been written is not correct. And he's trying to apportion the blame to various people, trying to say various things about him and claiming, look, I've not said anything about any of this. Why don't you one day get the news right? And he's done it in good form as well. He's got a laughing emoji at the end of that Instagram post as well. But I think Erik ten Hag as well will have an important role to play here, because as much as Manchester United will be saying, look, he's not for sale, as much as Erik ten Hag is saying Ronaldo is part of the plans and we expect him to be here, if it gets to the point where it is becoming too much of a distraction and too much of a disruption in the dressing room, will Erik ten Hag then go to the board and say, look, we need to sanction some kind of move here because this is not going to work? With that, though, will bring other issues, because if Manchester United then do business with Cristiano Ronaldo, they will want to bring in a replacement. Now, if you're a club who is going to sell a replacement for Cristiano Ronaldo, they would absolutely look at Manchester United and think, well, they're desperate now, because they said all along that Cristiano Ronaldo was not going to leave. Now they've let him go. They'll be desperate to bring a replacement in what remains of this transfer window. So if you're a selling club, and who could blame them? They would just say, OK, you want this player, let's add another zero to the price, because that's how desperate we think you are going to be. But I think this is going to rumble on for a few weeks yet. We've still got, over 4 weeks left in this transfer window. It's going to be interesting to see how it transpires now.
But if you were Erik ten Hag, you would have something up your sleeve, wouldn't you? Surely. I mean, he's not naive. If he thinks Cristiano Ronaldo's going, you've got to have somebody waiting in the wings, surely.
Well, Manchester United are looking to improve their whole squad. And from the outset of this transfer window, they've always said that one of the priority positions is to improve the forward line, but specifically not a number 9.
Right.
Because they've got Cristiano Ronaldo there, and Anthony Martial as well has returned from his loan spell at Sevilla. It was a disappointing spell, and a lot of people thought, well, that was his time up at United, but in pre-season he's really impressed. And now Erik ten Hag is perhaps thinking, if Cristiano Ronaldo is there as we expect him to be at the beginning of the season, do I actually start with Cristiano Ronaldo, or do I start with Anthony Martial, given the form that he's shown? Now, one advantage that Erik ten Hag might have compared to the previous managers when Ronaldo came in, because Ronaldo has come in with such huge fanfare to Manchester United, it was expected that he would start every game. But because he's made it clear to United that he doesn't want to be there, if he does remain there, Ten Hag has got that in the back of his mind to say, well, you're not necessarily going to be starting every single game because you've made it clear you want to leave. I've worked with all of these players throughout this pre-season tour, and look, Anthony Martial as a number 9 has impressed me. So he'll be the one starting the season. I wouldn't be surprised if Martial started the season anyway, simply because he's been playing the entire pre-season, whereas Ronaldo has just returned to training.